Behind me is a picture of a lady who is a widow with a son. She wants her son to get admission in a medical school, but she doesn't have money for that. She comes in contact with this casino, which puts a condition that if she tattoos the name of the institution on her forehead, the casino will be paying the entire amount of medical school for her. Now, when this true story comes in front of you, there are two different perspectives which can come in your mind. The first is, she's an adult. She can come in contract with anybody because it's her body and her rules are going to regulate it. That is one perspective. The other perspective is that why to use this body for such kind of work if she can procure funds from sponsorships or from insurance agencies. Now, both the perspectives are true and they can be right to one extent. But the question here is, why do we have that kind of society where a widow has to gather money for a medical school, for a noble cause from some events? The question here is that when we talk about today's society, we talk about the major problems in context of money. We feel that it is only money which has a solution to all our problems. And it's not only we as a layman who comes to this conclusion. Way back in 1980, two leaders of great democracies, President Reagan and Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, in their political addresses, came to a conclusion that it is the market and the money who have solutions to every problem in today's society, and it is not the political leadership or community or some kind of other unforceable or you can say humble forces which can come to this conclusion. So from these perspectives, we come to a question that when we have to deal with other humans, do we have to deal with them in context with money only? And if it is true, this thing is altogether changing the nature of how we look at our fellow beings. There was a time when Q was considered to be ethical. Q was one thing which used to give you a characteristic of patience. You used to feel that Q gives you a signal that whosoever comes first will have the first say of it. Or whosoever labors more will get more things in return. But gradually, markets started taking over. And if you have some extra bucks in your pocket, you can just evade this queue and you can get VIP entries in amusement parks, in colleges, in any category, just because you have the ability to pay extra. Now, there's nothing wrong in it. You can justify it by saying that because I have money, why should I stand in queue? But the repercussion of this kind of setup is a long-lasting effect. The first thing that comes when you evade these queues is that the people who are standing in the queue get envious. They get jealous of you because you have some extra bucks in your pocket and you can evade that kind of uneasiness. The second thing is they will start targeting money from hook or from crook because even they want that kind of satisfied or hustle-free life. So the question when it comes to the ethics of queue does not stop in getting tickets in amusement parks or in theatres or in some other public places. It has another effect on it. You don't compete in good colleges, you pay extra and you get the management seat there. So here is the question that when a person of such a nature who has paid something extra to the management and gets admission as far as you because you have cleared some kind of competition and is sitting beside you, there is some kind of change in his mindset just because he has paid something extra to the management. Now, let us correlate it with our history in India. If you have gone through the narratives of Ramayana, you will understand that when Ravan was about to die, Lord Rama asked Lakshman to get some knowledge from Ravana. Lakshman went to the lying body of Ravana and stood in front of his head and asked him to transfer the knowledge from Ravana to Lakshman. He refused to do so. Lakshman went back to Ram, and Ram asked him to stand near the feet of Ravana. Even if he has lost the war, he is a teacher in front of you. And when you have to take some knowledge from the teacher, you have to stand at the foot of the teacher. You just cannot stand on the head of the teacher. So why I'm telling you this narrative is that when we talk about money and when we talk about commercialization of education, we belong to that culture where you have to get knowledge only when you are humble. When you get a paid seat in any educational institution, the actual reason why you get knowledge is eroded. You don't become humble. You become arrogant. And that's not what you want. Similar narrative in Ramayana is when Hanuman met Ram and when Hanuman met Ravana, both of them spoke in Sanskrit with Hanuman. But there's a difference between the two. The epic teaches us that difference. When we talk about Ram, he was very humble. Though Ravan is considered to be more knowledgeable than Ram. But the narrative tells us that when it comes to Ravana and he sees that Hanuman is speaking Sanskrit in front of him, he becomes arrogant. He becomes insecure. So when you commercialize education, even if you get a degree from Ivy universities or so many good universities, that habit or that attitude of humbleness, that does not come into you. Just because you have not earned that degree, you have bought that. So when we talk about the moral aspect of money, we see that commercialization of education has led to the erosion of morality behind the education, because money is what is actually transforming the entire educational system. Let us take another example. You might have gone through Daljit's concert in Punjab or in different parts of India, or any other music concerts. You might have bought tickets watching cricket in any of the stadiums. Now, if you look at the history of the stadiums, it was in 8th century in Greece where for the first time an official stadium was made. Now, when the stadium was made, there was two kinds of stands that were structured. One with roofs and one without roofs. The stands which were with roofs, they were for VIPs. But one thing that was made clear was that all those stands would be placed on an equal footing. The reason why this happened was that sports was considered to be a phenomenon in life which teaches you team spirit. And there cannot be demarcation of society if you are going to this public sports system. But look at what is happening today. There are skyboxes on all the stadiums which is covered from glass from all the four sides. And if you witness, you will see that they are Bollywood stars or they are families of cricketers who sit in those skyboxes. These skyboxes are made on an upper hand as compared to the stands in the stadium. So this kind of setup is giving you a picture that you are not sitting here to watch the sport, but you are sitting here to show your status. Sports has no more become a kind of public attachment mechanism to attract everybody in the society, irrespective of what kind of category or what class they belong to. Skyboxification of life has become a very trendy in today's era. Reason being, money is the most important thing. If you have money in your pocket, you will obviously book a ticket in a skybox rather than standing for a team in normal stands. So money has again become a very important thing when it comes to morality or when it comes to social gathering. This is the third part, where money is altogether changing the perspective of how you look your fellow beings. Now, this is a picture of Jagannath Puri of Orissa. You look at the picture and you will find that it does not have any ears, it does not have any legs, it does not have any kind of beautiful face, but we still admire this. Why? The concept of seeing has already been changed by the fashion and the cosmetic industry. You feel that if you are beautiful, you will get maximum likes on your social media, on your Facebooks, on your Instagrams. Why? Because there is some kind of psyche that has been filled in your minds stating that only if you get 100 plus likes or good comments on the social media, you are beautiful. But Jagannath Puri is one epic or one kind of mythological story which tells us that when it comes to beautiness, it is never perfect. Because form can never be perfect. It has to be imperfect. If you have to reach the destination of perfection, you have to go beyond the form. But the cosmetic industry is trying to change the entire structure or the entire mindset, especially of the youth, because we are talking of Jagannath in context with what is actually seen. This is not a form. This is beyond form, and we don't know about it. Why? Because we are actually regulated by the concept of fast fashion or plastic surgeries or something which gives you a perfect picture with all those filters so that people like your face. But when it comes to seeing, it is more of beauty than of something which we interpret these days. I'll conclude my presentation by this very important metaphor which was used by a Twitter member way back in 2020. He says that every time you collect some money for charity, you feel that you have done something so humble for the society. Why? Because you feel that irrespective what is the source of that money which is coming from you, if you have donated or if you have done some kind of charity, that particular objective or that particular act of yours will clear the entire consciousness. Now, if you collect 20,000 rupees and save orphans from getting crushed in the machine, dear audience, you are doing no good to the society. Why? Because it is only when you do, it's only when you question why are we manufacturing this crushing machine, and if it has been manufactured, still why aren't we eliminating it from the society, is the actual thing which you can do for the society. Just collecting some kind of money and saving orphans from orphan crushing machine is not the purpose. The purpose is to eliminate this machine. only then there will be concept of social solidarity. Now, the question that might be haunting you since I've started speaking is that money is an important part of life. I agree with this. I don't deny that you can give or you can live a peaceful life without money. But we need to understand that when there is a conflict between money on the one side and morality on the other side, we have to maintain a balance of Shiv Shakti. Shiv Shakti does not mean, or it does not only mean that we are talking of gender equality. It is more than that. Why it is more than that? It tells you about having a balanced life in all the perspectives. Guru Nanak in Guru Granth Sahib has given a liberal meaning to the concept or the philosophy of Shiv Shakti. It says that when we talk about money, we have to talk about money in context with morality. Only then we will be balancing the entire structure of the society. Only then there will be peaceful coexistence. Only then there will be collaboration. And we need to understand there are so many and there can be everything on this earth which money can buy. But there should be some things on this earth which money should not buy. And we need to make sure that there are moral values which should control market. Thank you so much.